Good evening. My name is Joshua Slade, and welcome to our Global Racing League Arca Series season finale. And it is going to be a fun one. I have a very fun race for you guys tonight. It's finally here, guys, week 8, and these drivers here are prepared tonight to put on a show. As we are currently qualifying right now, we are at Concord. We are at Concord Speedway, and we're finally here. The time is upon us, guys. It's the season finale race, and we are gonna watch a lot of guys go for it all tonight. They're gonna go for glory. Now, watching practice, some of these guys, it's been a rough practice. Some of these guys might need a chiropractor after after tonight's race, because it's gonna be a very tricky track to get a grasp of, especially racing. Um, as a pack. So we'll see how these drivers are able to navigate after tonight. After we saw Zach Hollinger, he was unfortunately able to he spun it on his first lap. Now my race favorite for tonight is Donnie Honeycutt, who currently just concluded his qualifying, and he has qualified P2, so he's looking pretty confident for tonight. And let's take a look at Mark Sherwood. Or who do we have here that is on the track? Let's take a look at that 81 of Carlos Henriquez, who is looking to have a very good finish tonight, and who hopefully he's going to be a contender tonight and come away with that Global Racing Arca Series championship. And as you can see, Gates a little loose coming off of turn 1. And this is just such a tricky track to navigate through. And Carlos is gonna go ahead and retain that P10 spot right now. He's looking hopefully he's looking to have a better second lap. As you. And right now, yep, Carlos is gonna qualify P11. And look who we have on the track, Chad McGinley. Chad McGinley's little status report on him. He was having internet issues earlier today. He was questionable to race, and it looks like he's gonna make the race and qualify. Now I spoke to Chad before the race started, and he said he's gonna try to go for glory tonight. We'll just see if his internet will let him. And as we're looking at Michael Hayes has been a very strong contender each and every race, and he's looking to put together a great race and hoist that championship. Michael Hayes is a veteran when it comes to the Arca League, so and he has himself in prime position to come away with a win tonight and a championship. And so that looks like that's going to do it for all the drivers right now for qualifying. So, guys, so right now for our points lead, we have Chad McGinley in first, Bobby Mantle in second, Donnie Honeycutt in third, Michael Hayes in fourth, John Howard in fifth, JJ McCoy in sixth, Ron Harrington in seventh, tied with Tyler Honeycutt for seventh, Carlos Henriquez in ninth, Chase Albright 10th, Danny White 11th, and Dwayne Honeycutt 12th. And that's going to be your 12-man field for our point standings. So good luck to all of these drivers. It looks like Bobby Mantle is going to come away with that pole. He was very fast, and just behind him, Chad McGinley. So Hopefully, we're probably going to see another Bobby Mantle and Chad McGinley fight. Now, my keys to tonight's race is drivers who know how to drive the track consistently and who are driving that proper line. Watching practice, I didn't really see any driver driving the proper line. Besides that 22 of Donnie Honeycutt. Donnie Honeycutt was probably the only driver I personally that I watched throughout practice drive the correct driving line, and look for him to be my favorite tonight. So it's going to be a very exciting race. John Howard is another driver who has qualified in P5, and he's looking to have a nice race. So good for John Howard. He's been struggling here lately, but he's able to snag him a P5 qualifying. So that's going to be good on John Howard. We'll see if he's able to maintain throughout the race. And these guys are going to go for glory tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to be a fun one to watch. As you guys, these drivers are going to do 2 pace laps around the track. And Bobby Mantle, after that phenomenal, exciting win last week at Pocono, and Chad McGinley right next to him. So expect these guys to take the gloves off already and race extremely hard. So, and the key to tonight's race though is to survive for these drivers. These drivers want to survive. I spoke to Bobby and I spoke to Chad. Is these guys just want to survive tonight's race, and we'll see if they're able to. It's going to be a tough one. This is not a track that these drivers are comfortable with, but that's what's going to make it that much exciting for these drivers for this championship race. So we'll see how these drivers are able to navigate as the pace car is down pit road and we are about to go green, and Bobby is about to lead us to the green as the green flag drops and Bobby is off. And it looks like, oh, John Howard gets a very bad start, has to check up. Good job by JJ McCoy avoiding that stack up. And we'll see. Oh, looks like a couple drivers make some contact with the wall, are able to navigate through, and this is very, very tight racing here. And as you look at Ron Harrington able to get to the inside of John Howard. And Ron Harrington is already up 3 positions, already in that P6 spot, off to a fantastic start. And he's looking to challenge JJ McCoy here shortly. Excellent start here for Ron Harrington. As you see, Bobby Mantle is off to a commanding lead, as well as Chad McGinley. But one driver you always want to watch out for is that 22 car of Donnie Honeycutt. Oh, as we have a wreck here. Ron Harrington is around. Oh no. As I was just talking so well about him, it doesn't look like his car is too damaged. But let's kind of take a look here. What brought out that caution? It looks like Ron just gets loose and just loses himself and makes the slightest contact. But good job. I would say good job from John Howard to avoid that caution. Let's take another look at that. And it just looks like he just came around. And yeah, John Howard, good job of checking up there as he was just able to navigate that and just proceed through. So great job and a great shot by John Howard there. So it looks like Ron Harrington's car is not going to be too damaged, but he's going to have some work to do if he wants to get back up to where he was originally. Not seeing any damage, but unfortunate for him, his car looks really clean, so he's just going to have to make his way up through the field again after he was off to such a great start. And I'll tell you what, guys, that's the thing about this track. This track is super slick. You might think you have the grip, and sometimes you just don't, and you just run out of rubber. But good job there by one of our veteran drivers of the league, able to save his car from the outside wall and not make too much damage with that outside wall. As we are double file as pace car is going down pit road. We are going to stack him back up, and we'll see after we've already had our first caution. Bobby Mantle got off to that huge start on the green flag. Let's see what he's able to do this restart around as we are green. And off to a double oh, looks like Donnie Honeycutt just gets a slight wobble coming off turn one. These guys are stacked up, and these guys are going for it. And oh, we have a car around Chase Albright as the caution flies for the second time. Chase Albright with some damage over there to his right rear fender. As it looks like he made some contact with the wall, so let's go ahead and take a look at that and see what exactly happened to Chase Albright there. And he may have had some help. Let's see. He may have actually had some help, and yes, he did. Just the slightest of contact from Carlos Henriquez just sent Chase Albright around and going into the corner. And Chase is going to be the victim of that crash. Carlos was able to get away unscathed with little to no damage. And now we are already 2 cautions in. And honestly, what that is telling these top 5 drivers is, hey, don't make a mistake. Don't go to the back of the field, because you don't want to get caught up in these accidents. And these drivers have been doing a phenomenal job of wreck avoidance in these early 2 cautions that we have seen. And if I'm Ron Harrington, hey, we have a lot more racing to do. And I know I spun. If I'm Ron Harrington and Chase Albright, I know we have a lot more racing to do. I'm just gonna stay in the back and wait for the rest of these guys to get all the wrecks out of their system, and then I'll start making my move. But we saw in the beginning of the race, we saw Ron Harrington just jump out to a huge, commanding start. As we go green, as pace cars off down pit road, and we are about to go green for the 3rd time today. Oh, the 7 of JJ McCoy drives in there a little bit hard, and he's able to check up just in time and stay off of Donnie Honeycutt's rear bumper as he's being pressured from Mark Sherwood on the inside, but he's able to clear himself as these cars are starting to single file out, as it looks like Donnie Honeycutt and JJ McCoy are racing each other And this is what I like to see. I like to see these cars single file out. And oh, looks like we get, oh, our points leader, Chad McGinley and Bobby Mantle around. And that is going to have serious implications for the results of tonight's race. And that's what you did not want. The top two drivers to make a mistake. And unfortunately, Chad McGinley is going to have some left front damage. And let's take a look at Bobby Mantle as well. And if Bobby Mantle's truck, if we see any damage as well, and we don't see that much damage, and let's go ahead and take a look at what happened there. It's like Chad McGinley. Two separate wrecks happen at the same time. John Howard gets into Chad McGinley. And simultaneously, Bobby Mantle and Michael Hayes make contact. And let's take a look at that as well. And it looks like, yeah, Michael Hayes is there, and Bobby just doesn't notice him, and they end up making contact. Luckily, Bobby is able to keep it out of the wall, but I can just tell you what, just those two drivers, that's not what you want to see. Early troubles for Bobby Mantle and Chad McGinley. So we're gonna have a new race leader, John Howard, as we're coming to 1 to go. And John Howard is looking like the man right now. And this race is going to be anybody's race. And how this one's going to be shaping out. And we'll see how Chad McGinley and Bobby Mantle are going to be able to recover and racing in the middle of the field. Bobby Mantle is going to be in the back of the pack. So we'll see how these drivers are able to recover, and if they're able to avoid wrecks trying to get to the front of the field. So pace cars down pit road. The restart is going to be on the 78 of John Howard. And I know John Howard's dad is happy watching his son up front with a chance to win the Global Arca Series Championship. John, with a bad start, checks up the inside line as JJ McCoy takes it. John Howard spins, and John Howard spins it. John Howard spins it, coming off turn 1, and he's gonna have a lot of front bumper damage, and so that's not what you wanted to see from John Howard there. And let's take another look at that as he just spins it and makes huge contact with the wall. And goodness gracious, let's take another look. Let's take another look at that yellow with the huge contact. And yeah, that's just a huge hit to the inside wall. Safer barrier, and we'll see how he's able to recover. And John Howard is not going to go down pit road to try to get some of that damage repaired. And that I just don't get it. I think as a driver you should go ahead and get some of that damage repaired and just try not to go a lap down. And our new race leader now, it's going to be JJ McCoy, who's also another driver who's currently sitting 6th in points. And he has some work to do, but he has a shot to win. He's currently 28 points behind Chad McGinley. And it's going to be an interesting race, guys. And ladies and gentlemen, it has been a crazy race so far. And as we look, Bradley Minor right now is already up 12 positions, sitting in P3. So expect him to be one to watch after he had a strong showing last week. As we are about to go green, and Josh McCoy is off. As we get a good restart on both lanes. And Josh McCoy was very fast during practice, set the fastest lap, and now he's out here running in that clean air for the first time tonight. So we'll see what he's able to do in that clean air, and will he be able to set those same hot laps and fast times as he was in practice? We will see, but he's doing a fantastic job so far. As we look at that P2, Bradley Minor is already up to P2, and look for him. He's no slouch at all. Expect him to be very good. Looks like Josh McCoy gets a little tight coming off turn 3 there, and Bradley Minor is all on the bumper of Josh McCoy. So that's going to be a very interesting race. And expect these two to be battling hard pretty soon, as we are single filing out through the rest of the pack, as we have a battle here for P8. And as you see, Bobby Mantle starting to make his way back through the pack. And Bradley's able to make the pass for first place on Josh McCoy. And we have a new leader, Bradley Minor. And one thing about Bradley, he's been very talented throughout this league, but he's had some unfortunate breaks. And so now he's out here in first. We'll see what he's able to do for the remainder of the race as we come to lap 37. And he is pulling away right now from Josh McCoy. As we take a ride with Bradley Minor, as we ride along with him. That's one thing you see with Bradley. He's not trying to push it too hard. And he's trying to make sure that he's conserving the tire. But you do see different lines start to work. So you see some people diving down to the bottom. Some people to keep it on that high line going into turn 3. Another driver I'm very impressed with tonight is Carlos Enriquez. He's right now at P4. He's already up 8 positions for tonight. And he's looking to have a very strong race after he qualified 11th. If I'm not mistaken. And this looks like these drivers are starting to spread out now. And we're starting to get a long green flag run here As we're looking at Chad McGinley sitting P6 right now, and he's not looking comfortable with that car. There's a lot of damage to that right side of the car, and this could have huge implications for the rest of his race, and whether he's able to win a championship or not. And right now he's being pressured by the 20 of Tyler Honeycutt. And at some point you gotta think these guys are gonna be praying for a caution here pretty soon. And as we take a look at our race leader, who is doing a fantastic job and really showing himself throughout the rest of the field, and he's just separating himself, and he's doing such a great job. As we're taking a look at that 3 car of Zach Hollinger, who's missed a lot of races throughout the season, but he's here tonight, and he's trying to find himself a seat in the 2024 truck season, and he's doing a fantastic job. If you want to find yourself a seat, you want to put on a great race tonight, and just speaking with him, he said that he's ready for the task to put on a great race. He just said he wants to survive, and he'll take the rest. He'll do the rest from there, and he's doing a fantastic job. As we're looking at JJ McCoy is under fire right now from Zach Hollinger for that P2 battle. Let's take a look at the 17 of Dwayne Honeycutt. Dwayne Honeycutt is currently sitting P12. He's already up 2 positions right now, and he's looking to have a strong race and finish strong. And just behind him, John Howard, who had that incident earlier after he started P1. He was actually in first place and then just kind of fell downhill from there. But we'll see if he's able to gather it back up and get a strong finish for the season finale race. As right now he's racing around Danny White. Danny White's able to get by him, but Danny White is a lap down. And Ron Harrington, after such a great start, he's currently sitting P14, and we'll see if he's able to get back to that pace that I saw him running with earlier in the race. As right now there was a battle going on for that P2 position, but right now JJ's starting to separate himself from Josh McCoy, starting to separate himself a little bit. And Bradley Minor starting to come up on lap traffic as he's starting to work his way, and he's starting to make his way to Ron Harrington. Donnie Honeycutt. I wonder what happened to Donnie Honeycutt. Donnie Honeycutt's already back to P10 after he was just running in the top 5 for most of the race. And so we'll see what's going on with him. As you have Bobby Mantle starting to make his way through the field. A little bit of contact with Carlos Enriquez to the inside wall. And we'll see what he's able to do. It looks like he's going to concede to Bobby Mantle. And Bobby Mantle is is on a tear. He's coming for that first place position. We'll see what he's able to do as he's starting to close in on the leaders. And that's one thing about Bobby is he likes a challenge. He likes to be able to save his tire and work his way through the field. And that's one thing you can always expect with Bobby Mantle. He has some work to do. He's currently 5 seconds back from the leader, but we'll see what he's able to do. As Bradley Minor is currently the class of the field right now. As JJ McCoy is just a little bit faster last time by. And we'll see how that plays off. Looks like JJ McCoy is starting to close that gap in Bradley Minor. We'll see what lap traffic, what part lap traffic plays in JJ McCoy's attempt to catch Bradley Minor. And look at that Chad McGinley. Chad McGinley has still been struggling a little bit with trying to make his way through the field. We haven't really seen it since that incident, and I can just imagine that's just due to the damage. That's just going to be an unfortunate break for our points leader. Guys, I want you to know Bradley Minor is not a playoff driver, but he is driving hard. But with JJ McCoy currently sitting 6th, the battle is really between him and Michael Hayes right now, and as well as Bobby Mantle. So these are the kind of those 3 cars that we wanna look out for as we get closer to the end of the race, and we'll see what that does for the rest of these drivers. And I will give you an update on where these drivers will need to finish. As we have a battle for the lead, as Josh McCoy is able to get by Bradley Minor. Bradley Minor is going to try to cross him over going into turn 1 as they get very close. Bradley Minor is going to have the preferred line going into turn 2. And he's going to clear himself. And Josh McCoy is in a fantastic position. Looking at Michael Hayes, who's sitting P3, makes some contact with the wall there. That's not what you want to see, but if you're looking at Bobby Mantle's hungry. He wants this championship, and he doesn't want to get snipped again. But I can just imagine when he gets up to Michael Hayes, it's not going to be a friendly reunion when those two see each other. And he might just give him a little love tap. Looking at that 49 of Chase Albright, after he had that wreck earlier, he's starting to make his way back up. He's currently sitting P12. And we'll see if he's able to make his way back into the top 10. Mark Sherwood currently sitting P10. He's over here battling right now with Tyler Honeycutt. Tyler Honeycutt, Donnie Honeycutt who looks like he's probably been struggling throughout the race, and we'll see. He looked very good in practice, but I can imagine that he's just praying for a caution, and a caution would change everything with this race. As we're looking at our race leader, let's go ahead and ride along with Bobby Mantle as he's making his way through chat. Actually, we're gonna ride along with Carlos Henriquez as he's making his way along lap traffic, trying to hunt down Bobby Mantle. And this is gonna be an exciting conclusion to the season finale if this plays out the way it's going. Oh, and we have a caution out. Bobby Mantle seems to have been the culprit of the caution. And that's not what you want to see. And oh my goodness, that's just not what you want to see from Bobby Mantle. As you can imagine, the whole field right now is gonna head down pit road and go ahead and take some fresh tires. And this changes everything for these drivers. As Michael Hayes is up to second. And it's looking like a Michael Hayes and JJ McCoy show. We'll see if these two drivers are able to do it. And Michael Hayes is probably excited right now, but after that huge long run, I'll tell you what, Bobby Mantle has now just kind of shot himself in the foot after a self-inflicted wound there. And we're not seeing too much damage on this car. We'll see what he's able to do. As we're going green here, ladies and gentlemen, JJ McCoy off to a good start. Bradley Minor able to get that P2 spot. Looks like Michael Hayes has been dropping since, and it just looks like he fell asleep. And he's gonna drop 4 positions. Bradley Minor off to another good start as well. Carlos Enriquez running P3. And uh-oh, looks like Zach Hollinger gets a little loose coming out of turn 3. As we're looking at Bobby Mantle starting to make his way up again. He is running a little hard. We'll see if he's able to conserve his tires or does he just want to go for it all. As he's driving it incredibly hard, but he needs to get back up to the front if he wants to have and get him ahead of Chad McGinley if he wants a chance of winning a championship. And as we have the 44 of Mark Sherwood around, as they're going to stay green. And let's take a look at that. Mark Sherwood just gets a little bit too loose on braking. He's able to save it, but huge contact with the inside wall and making some contact with Ron Harrington. As we have a 3-car lead here for the race. And Bradley Minor has lost some positions. Well, look, Carlos Enriquez and Michael Hayes racing each other very hard for that P2 position. These are all playoff drivers here that are all looking to go race for that championship. And Chad McGinley is already up to P5. And the thing about Chad McGinley is he doesn't need a great finish, but he doesn't need to win or anything like that. But a top 5 will put him in prime position to win a championship, depending on the race winner. Right now, Bobby Mantle is starting to catch up to Chad McGinley. As we're looking at a battle for P2 here between Michael Hayes and Carlos Enriquez. Carlos Enriquez taking that defending route and going on the inside and trying to take that inside passing lane away from Michael Hayes just to make it a little bit harder. And we'll see how how Michael Hayes is gonna approach that, as Michael Hayes is gonna try to look inside here, as Carlos is gonna try to cut that off. And caution is out. Bobby Mantle again. Goodness gracious. As, oh, Ron Harrington has to come to another screeching halt to avoid from getting into Bobby Mantle there. And let's take another look at what happened to Bobby Mantle this time. Bobby Mantle just pushing it again and just self-spinning, able to keep it off the wall, but he's not making it easy on himself right now. As he's making it very hard on himself right now, as he's only 6 points behind Chad McGinley. And so Bobby Mantle were able to win the race somehow. Chad McGinley would have to come in second to retain the championship. But the way these two, well, the way Bobby Mantle right now is racing, he's going for it all. And as he should, but I just think he needs to slow it down just a little bit, and he will get there. As it stands right now, even if JJ McCoy was able to win the race with Chad McGinley being in P5, he would still be considered the champion. And it's gonna be interesting as we are getting ready to go green here. Basically, Chad McGinley would have to end up probably in P12 just for Josh McCoy to have a chance, as we're going green here. Josh McCoy's off to a fantastic start. Bobby Mantle pushing hard around Chad McGinley on the outside as they're wrecking. Donnie Honeycutt and Bradley Minor make contact, and that is going to be yet another caution. And let's kind of take a look at what brought that caution out. As, oh, Donnie and Chad make contact, and that has Donnie check up, and then Bradley just doesn't see the checkup in time and just runs into the rear bumper of Donnie Honeycutt. And yeah, these tempers are starting to flare. These drivers are starting to, their patience starting to wear as tempers are starting to flare. So it is going to get interesting, as, and if you haven't noticed, Bobby Mantle has already jumped back up to P6, and he has been very aggressive in his hunt to get back up to the front. And these two drivers, Bobby Mantle and Chad McGinley, right now are so far ahead in points that it's really just their race to lose. They just need to have a good finish. With JJ McCoy being 20 points back, he would most likely need a DNF from Chad McGinley and Bobby Mantle just to have a shot. All right, as we are about to go green here, ladies and gentlemen, as we are starting to wrap up the last bit of the Global Racing League Arca Series, the Hard Racing 100 here at Concord Speedway, known for the complexity of its track. We are going to lap 120. As we're going to be coming this time by to 30 laps to go. And patience is going to start to wear. And the guys to keep an eye out on is Bobby Mantle and Chad McGinley. Oh, huge inside hit from two drivers. John Howard makes huge contact with the wall. Right in front of Bobby Mantle. And Bobby Mantle was able to see that coming and hop out of the gas and almost got caught up in another caution. And as well as Carlos Enriquez had some trouble there as well on the front stretch. And he's already down to P5. That's not what Bobby Mantle wants to see, as he's being raced hard by Tyler Honeycutt. And he's kind of stuck right now. What he wants to do is he wants to get up to Chad McGinley. But Chad McGinley's already up to P4. And as it stands, P4 is going to be enough for him to win the championship. As we have a race lead going on right now. Michael Hayes, who's looking on the inside of JJ McCoy. Michael Hayes is currently sitting P4 and points. So that's the thing, for Chad McGinley would have to be in 7th place for Michael Hayes to be the champion. And will Chad McGinley drop through the pack? We will see. But any late race incident could have huge implications, as you can tell that Chad McGinley just wants to keep it clean. We have one off into the wall. Tyler Honeycutt. And caution is out. Tyler Honeycutt with a huge hit on the inside wall. And let's go ahead and take a look at that. And just huge contact with the inside wall. Unfortunately, and Tyler just looks like he ends up getting loose coming out of turn 2, and that inside wall comes up on you fast and just takes a huge hit on that inside wall. And we have some guys down pit road. Donnie Honeycutt going down pit road. We'll see what this is able to do on fresh tires with under 20 laps to go. As we look at Dwayne Honeycutt get that wave around. And this is going to get good, because you cannot count Donnie Honeycutt out either. He's currently 10 points back. And he would need a P6 finish from Chad McGinley. Right now, Chad McGinley and Bobby Mantle are trying, and you can tell, you can just see it in the way that Bobby Mantle's driving. Just the way he's driving, you can tell that he's just trying to do whatever he can just to get around and get a better finish, because he is only 6 points back. Bobby Mantle would need a win. We'll see, as Bobby Mantle starting on the outside, as JJ McCoy's getting ready to take the green. With 13 laps to go, and the conclusion of the Global Racing Arca Series League imminent. Michael Hayes to the outside of JJ McCoy. Michael Hayes is going to have the preferred line going in. JJ McCoy still on the inside, still side-by-side racing. Is JJ McCoy going to clear himself? Michael Hayes is still going to get a huge run. And as they make contact, Michael Hayes is going to drift up the track. And Michael Hayes is going to be under fire now from Zach Hollinger. And right now, that's not what you want to see. Michael Hayes wants to get around Zach Hollinger as soon as possible, because he has championship aspirations, and we'll see. But the real race right now is between Chad McGinley and Bobby Mantle. And will they be able to make them? What will Bobby Mantle be able to do, as we are about to go 3 wide back here, as they're able to double foul it out? And we'll see what Chad McGinley is able to do. As Bobby Mantle is fighting hard with Chad McGinley. Chad McGinley just needs to stay afloat and finish in P7 or P6 minimum. And we will see. And it's always going to be fireworks when these two are racing each other when it comes to the end of the race. We'll see what Bobby's able to do. Will Bobby make that move? Will Bobby move him out of the way? Bobby's going to try to jump to the outside and get a run on the outside. We'll see what type of run that he'll have coming on the front stretch. And Michael Hayes huge to the outside of the wall coming on turn 3. And as we come to 3 to go, caution is out. And goodness gracious, that has changed everything as Bradley Minor, who has started out very strong in the race, is yet victim of another caution. As he was racing around Carlos Enriquez and Donnie Honeycutt, as he just makes contact with Carlos Enriquez and he just gets a little loose there and he just loses it on the front stretch. And now I believe this is going to be a green-white checkered here, guys. And we'll see what happens. And we only have one green-white checkered here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to be a good one. I think these drivers are going to go for it. Chad McGinley currently right now where he sits, if he's able to finish at that spot, he will be our champion. He just needs to stay afloat. Gloves are going to be coming off here. As you see these two drivers here, between Bobby Mantle and Chad McGinley. If you're Bobby, you got to make something happen on that inside. You got to go for it. You're going to be starting on that inside line. Chad McGinley is going to be starting on the outside. Not the preferred line, but he's going to have to do what he can. He's going to have to hope Michael Hayes can get a really good jump on that outside line. And we will see. And 2 laps to go. No! And no, they're wrecking. Guys are wrecking. Chad McGinley. Oh, Bobby Mantle. And oh goodness gracious, another caution, and it is looking like a Walmart parking lot on Black Friday. Goodness gracious. And that is just heartbreaking right there for Bobby. Bobby has been pushing his car so much, and it just hasn't been working for him. And let's take a look at that again. As oh, yep, him and Carlos Enriquez get into each other there. As this race is going to end, and our champion, Chad McGinley, our Arca Series champion, Chad McGinley, and also as well as JJ McCoy taking the win. Chad McGinley is going to win, and he's going to be crowned. Chad McGinley is going to be crowned our Arca Series champion, and his teammate as well as JJ McCoy is going to be our winner for tonight's race in the Hard Racing 100. Chad McGinley has done it. It started off completely crazy, but Chad McGinley was able to weather the storm, and it looks like his car is just went to war. As Josh is gonna burn it out too to celebrate his win. And there goes Chad McGinley. He's gonna come join his teammate. And it's been a hard-fought season, but Chad McGinley has shown he can race everything. This is a driver who has been putting in a tremendous amount of work, and he has admirations to race with the top of the top sim racers, and that's what he wants. And him being able to bring this home, this championship home, he is right on schedule to race with the top drivers iRacing has to follow. So good shout out to Chad McGinley. Very hard fought season, and this is the driver who didn't know if he wasn't going to be able to make the race today. He actually told me he wasn't going to be able to make the race today, and there you have it. He's able to come away with the championship. Last minute, he pulled into the race, and he was able to secure the championship, and he's going to be our Global Racing League Arca Series champion. And so let's go ahead and look at Michael Hayes. Unfortunately I'm not able to pull up the point standings, but Michael Hayes is going to be our third place. He's going to place third place in the season, and Michael Hayes, Joshua Slade in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Michael Hayes, fantastic season for you tonight. You have placed third in the Global Racing Arca Series. And I mean, how are you feeling just after this season?
Yeah, I mean, this league is not really for us like truck regular drivers, but it was fun racing with all the new guys and watching them all get signed throughout all this season. But yeah, no, driving these Arca cars, man, they're a blast for sure.
Yes, and kind of like explain to me how these ARCA cars kind of help you mold your driver talent and your racecraft, and how you carry what you learned from the ARCA cars into the trucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to judge with these Arca cars because, like, I mean, in my opinion, Arca cars is one of the hardest cars to drive. besides like the Xfinity and Cup. But yeah, I mean you can definitely tell skill wise if you got a good driver or not, because if they can handle one of these things, then you got yourself a good driver.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you. It's been a fantastic season. Is there anyone that you want to shout out after a very, very strong competitive season?
Yeah, shout out to our new team, our new up and coming team, Ghost Motorsports, for the new season, and congratulations to sign throughout this off season. Shout out to Global for having the Truck League and the Arca League. Shout out to you for broadcasting this. All these races have been super fun to watch throughout the Arca season, and
Yes, sir.
yeah, just a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. So, Michael Hayes, a week and a half from now, we will be racing at the duels at Daytona in the Global Racing League Truck Series. Kind of give me what do you expect for yourself moving forward in the Truck Series for the 2024 season?
Yeah, it's hard to base everything off of Daytona. I have like the most terrible luck at super speedways, so I think we're doing like a pole position and second place qualifying before the duels. I'm gonna be going for first or second because I have a feeling I'm gonna get wrecked out in the duels or just wreck myself. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the 2024 trucks season. It should be a good one. A lot of competitive drivers out there, for
Yes,
sure.
sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Michael Hayes, always a very strong, talented driver. He will be looking to make a name for himself. Well, he already has a name for himself, but he'll be looking to add on to his Global Racing League legacy. And very, very strong driver there. And it's just been a very fun season for all of these drivers. Next, we're going to go ahead and take it to our second place finisher in the standings, Bobby Mantle. How are you feeling after coming away with that second place finish in the series?
Feeling alright, a little rough after this race. It's so well. Got spun early, and then it seemed like it was just downhill after that. I couldn't right the ship. I was trying my best. I spun myself a couple of times. Just overall not too impressed with today, but I'm glad I was able to finish second in the championship standings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so your teammate Chad McGinley was able to come away with the win. And so pretty much, how are you and Chad McGinley and how in your friendship, how are y'all able to build off each other and just maintain at such a high competitive level week in and week out?
It just comes down to the amount of hours we've raced against each other. We put in a lot of time last season. I know his moves, he knows mine. We both just have a lot of trust with each other on the track, and we just continually push each other to be better, race harder, and keep it clean for the most part.
Yes, for the most part. Y'all have had y'all incidents, but tonight y'all have raced fairly clean and unfortunately you got into a little bit of a scenario, a little bit of had some issues going on throughout the race, but kind of what was like the mentality after that first spin came out and you got some damage? I saw you kind of pushing hard there to try to catch up to get in front of Chad, but like what was kind of your mentality throughout that ordeal?
Well, that was exactly, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I knew it was go time. I had to race a little harder than I wanted to because I needed to get past Chad and try to put some positions between us if I could. But he's just too good of a driver, and I was pushing too hard. So by the end of it, I just didn't have the tires to try and take him down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I believe you are Grim Reaper Motorsports, if I'm not mistaken, and y'all are coming up on the 2024 Truck Series. Can you tell me what Grim Reaper Motorsports is looking to produce coming in the upcoming season in the trucks?
We're looking to produce wins, man. We're gonna try and be out front every single race if we can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So after a second place finish in tonight's point standings, is there anyone that you want to shout out?
Shout out to everybody in the league. This was a great little season. Good way to spend the off season leading up to the trucks. Shout out to you for putting on these broadcasts. Love going back and watching them. And shout out to anyone that tunes in to watch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Bobby Mantle, I appreciate you stopping by. I look forward to watching racing with you in the upcoming 2024 Truck Series and Global Racing League. And it's just going to be a fun one to watch. So, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Mantle himself, very, very strong competitor who's made a name for himself in the Truck Series in just a couple seasons. So he is very, very one of our top talented drivers. Tonight, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't interview the man himself, the race winner tonight himself, Josh McCoy. Josh McCoy, do you have a copy? This is Joshua Slade in the booth.
Yeah, brother, I got you.
Josh, yet another week I am talking to you, and you are another driver who is a part of Grim Reaper Motorsports. And tonight wasn't easy. You had to go take the lead from drivers. You were under immense amount of pressure from Michael Hayes and Bradley Minor. Kind of what was going through your head throughout the whole entire race?
Well, man, when we started out there, I was just really hoping I could get out front and get some clean air, and I knew if I could keep it together, if I could keep it clean, took care of my tires, I'd do all right. I felt pretty fast there, kind of goofed up my qualifying, but man, what a race! That was fun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Phenomenal racing. You ran the fastest practice lap throughout practice. So that was a pretty good indicator that you were going to have a pretty good race. It was just weathering the storm, and I know you were able to keep it clean for the most part of the race. I don't think you got into any incidents, so good job on that. So Josh, I have one thing to ask you. You're going to be a rookie driver coming up in the truck series for the 2024 season. And so what can you take from the Arca series and what you've learned in the Arca series into the trucks?
Well, I think the biggest thing is gonna be consistency. Um, Up until week 5, I was right up there, at the top in points. So um, that's my biggest thing is putting together a good finish each week just to have a chance in the playoffs. Didn't go exactly how I did with the last 3 races, but I think that's going to be my game plan is keep it keep it together and hopefully be able to make some noise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so, Josh, is there anyone that you want to shout out after a phenomenal race in the finale race tonight?
Yeah, I got to shout out my teammates Chad and Carlos, or sorry, not Carlos, Bobby and Ronnie. Man, getting together with them and just learning what I can and one foot in front of the other.
Yes, sir. Josh McCoy, tonight's winner. He's looking to have a huge rookie season coming up in the trucks, and he wants to cement himself with the top drivers in our league, and I feel like he can. And only time will tell. Josh, um, how are you? What are you looking forward towards the 2024 truck season? And do you feel like you have something to prove to the rest of these drivers, the rest of the veteran drivers here in the league?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, as a newer guy, you always got something to prove. Let them know I'm here to make some noise. I'm here to stay, and remember the name.
Yes, sir. Mr. McCoy, we look forward to seeing you race in the truck series, and it was a pleasure having you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Josh McCoy, tonight's winner. And next, we will have in the booth the man who has been Mr. Consistent all season, who's been putting together great race after race, and he's been the most who's been the most he's been the best driver I can say honestly throughout the whole entire playoffs. He kind of started off slow, but as soon as the playoffs hit, he has been Mr. Consistent. Chad McGinley, Joshua Slade in the booth. Do you have a copy?
I got a copy.
Chad McGinley. It's another week, and I find you here in the broadcast booth. And this time it's a little bit different because you are the Global Racing League Arca Series champion, and you have that cemented under your belt. How do you feel?
Feeling pretty good. I'm just glad I survived that. That was a mess of a race. It was fun, but man, it was a hard fought battle. But no, Bobby, Donnie, it was a great season. Everybody, honestly, it was a real good season. I enjoyed it.
Yes, kind of take me through what was going through your head after you got involved in the early caution, and then you had some right side damage. So what was going through your head, and how were you able to keep the attrition to keep managing and place yourself in a good finish?
Honestly, I mean, John got into me early. They gave me a little tap, spun me around, went all the way to the back, and then Danny had some kind of technical issue and came right across my right and caused all the damage on the right. So it was just a matter of surviving the rest of the race. Honestly, it was. I kind of knew what was going on and kind of see who was driving around me, and a few times I just let him go just because it was all about surviving, and I knew it needed a good finish. So the only way to do that is surviving any crashes or any mistakes by anybody else. So it was just a matter of focusing on my race and doing what I can to do the best I can and get the best finish I can to hopefully pull it off at the end.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have been Mr. Consistent all playoffs. You had a slow start coming towards the beginning of the season, and I just keep harping on whenever that word playoff comes out, you just turn on a different switch, and you just separate yourself amongst the rest of the drivers. So kudos to you. And is there anybody you want to shout out after a phenomenal season?
Honestly, you guys for sure. You, Josh, you put on a good show every week. Global Racing League, for putting this on. Can't wait to get into this truck season here in a few weeks. Get back into my forte, and obviously everybody and Grim Reaper. I mean, we took the playoffs, we swept the playoffs, so that's a good sign. So I appreciate you guys putting in the work and doing a good job and finishing good races, man. It was definitely a good season, good playoff run for us. And obviously my family, letting me be able to do this and on my hobby time. And yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly.
Yes, sir, Chad McGinley. Um, so racing an ARCA series and taking everything that you learned with these ARCA cars, because I saw you struggle in the beginning of the season and have grown so much to become the ARCA series champion. What can you take from what you learned in this series into the truck series?
Honestly, this car is just about managing your tires. I was terrible at it last season in the trucks. They're not the best, that's for sure. But this one, it took a little bit to getting used to. Honestly, it was a little bit of practice time here and there, and just kind of feeling the finesse of it because it takes a little bit of a different. It's a driver's car, so you really got to drive the car
Yes, sir.
and be very easy on it because one little mistake can cost you big time. So I think it happened a few times. Got involved in a few wrecks early on in the season, and then I guess my luck changed. I had all the bad luck at the start of the season and had all the good luck at the end.
Yes, sir, Chad McGinley, our ARCA series champion. Last year you fell a little bit short in the truck series, in the championship race. Can you tell me how you will improve and build on what you took away from last season in the trucks moving towards the 2024 season?
It's just going to take a lot of hard work. That's first thing. It's going to be a lot of practice time. As it showed when we really practiced and spent time practicing, it showed towards the end of the season. So we're going to continue doing that and get with the Grim Reaper guys and continue on from what we grew from at the top. And honestly, I'm just thrilled and can't wait for this season. And I think just saving tires and being able to modulate, a little better on the gas pedal, it'll help me in the long runs. because obviously global racing we have a lot of long runs, so that's going to be key. And yeah, just keep my focus and not make the mistakes I made last year and cost us a championship. So I've learned about that and trying not to wreck teammates for the win. That's for sure.
See, look, I wasn't trying to bring it up there, but unfortunately, that's going to be a stain for a long time. We'll see. Hopefully, you're able to build off those tough lessons and fight for a championship. I've seen a lot of growth from you, and I'm happy with what I've seen. And because early on, like I alluded to earlier, I saw you struggle with these cars, and then just with the progress that you've made to become a champion, racing around veteran drivers such as Michael Hayes and Stephen Hayes and DJ Honeycutt, who is also another Arca Series champion. You have put together a well-rounded series, so nice to have you, and I look forward to seeing you in the trucks. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that this is our Global Racing League Arca Series champion, Chad McGinley. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Oh, I appreciate it, and congrats to everybody else for finishing a good season and having a real good season in the ARCA season. Can't wait to get started in the trucks.
Yes, sir, Chad McGinley. Also, I want to allude to one thing before I let you go. Tonight almost wasn't your night, and you were having technical difficulties with your internet at home, and somehow you were able to make the race. Kind of walk the audience through what kind of happened there.
I got home, turned on the sim to do some practice laps, and had no internet. So ended up being a ISP outage in our area, and they said that it would be fixed by 8:06, and which is like 2 hours or about an hour and a half past the race. So luckily they got it fixed just in the nick of time, and guess it just, like I said, my bad luck was at the start of the season, good luck was at the end, so it just continued there. So I appreciate the internet service provider to get it back and going for me and being able to lock it down.
Yes, sir. Shout out to the ISP guys. All right, Chad McGinley, ladies and gentlemen, our Global Racing League ARCA Series champion. And next, we are gonna bring a driver who, in my opinion, is probably the most improved driver in the whole Global Racing ARCA Series League, Ron Harrington. Ron Harrington, Joshua Sladen booth. Do you have a copy?
I do, sir. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic, Ron Harrington. It was a little bit of a rough race for you last today, but just looking at the progress that you've made throughout each and every week, you were able to battle yourself up and make the playoffs, and not only just make the playoffs, but you were a competitive driver throughout the playoffs. And so, kind of give me, uh, what was your expectation going into the league, into the ARCA series, and do you think you were able to exceed your expectation?
Well, I mean, my whole thought process was it would be good experience for me because driving these Arca Twisted Sisters, if you can handle these things, it makes the trucks a whole lot easier. So I, went after it and did what I could. And, I slipped a little bit in the points at the end there, but I survived it and I learned a whole lot. And we're ready to get going on the Global Racing League Truck Series season.
There you go. There you go. So with the truck series coming up, how are you going to be able? What can we expect from you this season versus from what happened last season, Ron?
Well, the biggest room in there is the room for improvement, and I got plenty of room for improvement. So that's where I'm shooting for this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have seen a lot of improvement from you in these last 8 weeks, and it's been great to watch the growth of you as a sim racer, and and you are a part of Lazy Lizard Racing. And so, can you kind of inform to me or kind of give the audience what should we expect from Lazy Lizard coming up in this 2024 Truck Series?
Well, I mean, we were kind of in the basement last season as far as team performance, and we can only go up from there. So we got to put in the effort to make that happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's great to actually have you here in the booth. And Ron Harrington, do you want to give a shout out to anybody
Well, I want to thank all the guys in the league for participating in the short Arca season. I want to thank you for your excellent broadcasting and heading up this ship. You've done an excellent job, and you know, shout out to the boys. And if you need a paint, I know a guy.
Yes, sir. Ron Harrington, a fantastic. He's fantastic in the craft of trading paints and making paint schemes for drivers. And so, if you do need a paint scheme for your team, series, or for your race car, please hit up Ron Harrington. He is a excellent craftsman in making paints. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is Ron Harrington. He has had a fantastic season. In my opinion, that is our most improved driver of the season. Ron Harrington expected to do very big things come in the 2024 Truck Series. So there you have it. And last but not least, we have the 81 of Carlos Henriquez, who is a rookie driver in the Arca series, and he was able to make a name for himself early on and get signed into the Truck Series. And so, Carlos, can you take me through from the beginning of the series and how, because you said you're not really used to racing in leagues, and how has racing in Arca transformed you so far as a sim racer?
Well, when it comes to like just leagues itself, it's like a commitment on top of like every other commitment I have, college and my filmmaking career, and just I was like, you know what, every Thursday doesn't sound bad, and I tried it. It was really good, and then going from Daytona all the way to Concord in a span of 8 weeks. I mean, what, top two finishes. I've had my ups and downs, but in the end, I was able to at least flex some good parts, and I think, I mean, I don't regret it. This was honestly, this was awesome. This was really awesome.
There you go, and I'm happy to hear that. Now, watching, let's kind of shift focus back onto tonight. Tonight, you seemed very strong. You started off strong. In the middle of the race, you were strong as well. You started to make your way up to P2. Unfortunately, you had some some shortcomings because you got caught up in some accidents, but you were still able to come away with a top five finish, and still that is a phenomenal job, especially after everything that happened to you. And so, kind of, what was your mentality going into the race, and do you think you were able to exceed your expectation with your top five finish tonight?
Well, one thing I learned: never judge a track by its looks. Um, I was like, oh, I'm gonna hate this track. I can't do a downshift going into turn one, and then I got a feel for it, and I'm able to run top four. My qualifying wasn't great because I barely grazed the wall, but iRacing, you know how iRacing is. Um, I think I did well. I was talking with Chad, Michael, and JJ. I was like, man, Michael was coming at me. I was trying to get you, and he's like, yeah, I know, but that's just how it is. And it's always nice to have guys that are faster than me at least be behind me, so at least I can understand. Okay, I'm low key am going faster because he's putting pressure on me. That's great. Yeah, I had my mishaps. I hit the wall once, getting loose, and then I just burned my tires up. I wanted it to be like a South Boston Part 2, but that I was running already so quickly, it didn't really cross my mind that I should take tires a different way than everybody else. So, but I'll settle for fourth. I think I finished fourth. That's what it's saying right now on my screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Carlos Henriquez, you are currently signed to One of One Motorsports, and you will be racing under the rookie class in the 2024 Global Racing League Truck Series. Wh- What is what should we expect from you in the 2024 truck season?
I'm gonna say exponential growth. I might not start off the best, but you're gonna see that spike. It's gonna happen, and I know it's gonna either happen at Bristol or Las Vegas, one of the maybe a road course. I don't know. I'm a left foot breaker. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, so road courses are also, I love them. So I just look for me to slowly sneak in. You might not expect it. And you're like, oh, that's the 81. Oh, I know that guy. So I'd say don't count me out. I'll be there, and when I'll be there,
it'll be important, and I'll make it happen.
Yes, sir. Look out for that 81 car because he's proven he can race with the top of the global racing league drivers and week in and week out. So I expect to have Carlos racing very, very hard in the truck series. And Carlos, is there anyone that you want to shout out before I let you go?
Uh, let's say people, Tyler Honeycutt, really, really, really awesome guy. I appreciate everything he's done for me. You, Josh, you scooping me up because that also that helped a lot. My family, my homeboy Noah, if he's watching, what's good, my man? Um, so yeah, this was fun, and I can't wait to make a highlight out this race. I'm gonna attempt to do it. So hopefully, I can whip something up that's nice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Carlos Enriquez. And phenomenal driver. He's going to be looking towards making a name for himself in the 2024 truck season in Global Racing League. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a crazy race, but it has finally come to an end. And as we go through the race results, JJ McCoy in first, Michael Hayes in second, Chad McGinley third, and is going to be our Global Racing Series champion in the Arca Series. And fantastic job to him. And then fourth is going to be Carlos Enriquez, fifth Bobby Mantle, sixth Tyler Honeycutt, seventh Chase Albright, eighth Ron Harrington, ninth Bradley Miner, 10th Zach Hollinger, 11th Donnie Honeycutt, 12th John Howard, 13th Mark Shearwood, 14th Dwayne Honeycutt, and 15th Danny White. And ladies and gentlemen, it has been a fun 8 weeks talking to you guys each and every Thursday. And unfortunately, our season has concluded, but it has been a fun series to call. But ladies and gentlemen, it is not over. A week after week after next, we will be racing from Nerditudes on YouTube for the 2024 Truck Series. So you will be able to catch drivers like myself and all the other drivers that you've seen in this league in the Truck Series with other drivers. And so it's going to be a very fun season looking forward. And so Global Racing League has a lot of talent that's going to be going into this truck series that we haven't seen in a very long time. So expect to have good racing each and every week. So we will not be leaving long, guys. We will just be transitioning to a new series, and it's going to be very fun. And we will be back with the Arca series in the winter of this year. So expect to see us back for another short 8-week season with packed with different changes, but it's still going to have that action-packed series. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fun one calling these races with you for the last 8 weeks, and it is going to come to an end for the ARCA series and the beginning for the 2024 Truck Series. So I thank you for watching. Shout out to everyone who has watched so far. Shout out to our drivers. This league was intended to produce talent and develop drivers to get signed into our truck series, which each driver was able to get signed into our truck series who wanted to race. And so very happy about that. Shout out to Michael Lester and Kenny Heath, the owners of the league, who have taken a lot of admin work and were able to make my job easier, as well as all my admins as well who helped me with this ARCA series, with Chad McGinley, Bobby Mantle, Stephen Hayes, Tyler Honeycutt, Michael Lester, Kenny Heath, Stephen Hayes, and Michael Hayes. So just without those guys, it would have been super hard. And so just shout out to all those guys. Shout out to everyone who's been watching at home. It's been a very fun season, and we look to see you guys back for the ARCA season in the winter of this year. But week after next, we will be back from at a different channel at Nerditudes. Please go ahead and subscribe to them. And we will be racing in the trucks for our duels at Daytona. So expect a lot of competitive drivers. Expect to see drivers like myself and many other different drivers racing. And so it's going to be a fun one to watch, you guys. And thank you for stopping by for the last 8 weeks. And we are going to be out. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.